Hey everyone, Cary Breese, CEO and co-founder of NowRx. Welcome to our first office hours. We are hopefully participants today have already seen some of the other webinars where we talk about the business and go through basic overview of the industry and what we're trying to do. This session today is designed to be more of a direct kind of Q&A. So I'm going to not go through our normal presentation and just take questions. And we're going to do this every day at about the same time every day this week as we wrap up to our closing on Friday. So give everyone a few more seconds to get logged in, and then we'll start getting to the questions. So if you can submit your questions in the chat or the Q&A, I forget exactly how that works. I have a moderator that's gonna pull some of the questions that we get to, and we'll go from there. We got this scheduled to be a half hour, and if we need a little more time, I can probably take a little more time today. Again, we're gonna do this each day in the week. So let me get to some of the questions here. I think everyone should be logged in by now. All right, question number one. How have current market conditions in the public markets are down, inflation is high? How has that affected NowRx? That's question number one. Pharmacy historically has been incredibly recession proof. It's one of the best industries there are as far as in recessions. Inflation, we haven't seen an effect yet in our business. The pricing of medications in the pharmacy industry are really tightly controlled, and we haven't really seen that trickle through. I imagine if inflation became bad enough that would affect pricing of medications, you would see some governmental intervention, but so far we haven't seen any of that, and our business is up. Any kind of effect in the public markets hasn't affected people's needs for life-saving medication, as you would expect. So it hasn't really been an effect for us. We're on a good growth path and very excited about the future. Question number two. Walgreens announced they're using prescription filling robotics. Is that a threat to NowRx? So the Walgreens announcement was quite interesting to us. You got to put yourself in the minds of CVS and Walgreens. They know we're out here, and there's other competitors too, right? It's not just NowRx. Let's be honest. There's a bunch of competitors in the space. Capsule is a company. Amazon's playing around in pharmacy, although they're doing mail delivery. Walgreens and CVS have a problem on their hands. They are committed to this in-store pickup model, but at the same time, they can see how the market's changing, and they're publicly traded companies. They've got to make moves that try to generate some press for them and to try to make it look like they're cutting edge companies. And so they announced robotic dispensing for some of their locations, and what is really going on is they're using something called central fill. Central fill has been around the pharmacy industry for decades, and what they're doing is they're sending prescriptions like from the doctor. So the doctor sends a prescription to a pharmacy, a Walgreens. That Walgreens pharmacy is now sending that prescription electronically out to a central fill fulfillment center, which is remote and far away from that store. At that fulfillment center, that central fill location, they're filling that medication and then shipping it back to the local store for pickup. Now, there's a lot of things wrong with that. Nice that they're using robotics. That could save them some labor costs, and welcome to the 21st century here, but that is a bad model for a number of reasons. The biggest problem in pharmacy is basically the SLA, how quickly can you respond to a patient's needs? You get that prescription, you want to fill it and get it out same day. If you're sending that prescription out to a remote location and waiting for it to get shipped back, you're introducing more time delay for a patient. It's a really, really bad idea. What NowRx does is we've moved the robotics and the technology to do rapid dispensing out to the periphery of the network. So when patients come and get a prescription, or we get a prescription from the doctor, we fill it and bottle it right away within minutes, and then get it out to that patient same day, 2 to 3 hours, even 1 hour if necessary. That's the way the market has to shift. The industry needs to get to a higher level of SLA where patients can get their medications same day, 2 to 3 hours, or even 1 hour. And the industry is just really terrible at that. And adding robotic dispensing at remote locations that are far away from where the patients are is not a good solution. And I wish them a lot of luck. But look, Walgreens needs to generate some buzz, right? They're a publicly traded company. What do you think all the analysts are asking Walgreens and CVS during their analyst calls? They're asking them, I can tell you what they're asking them. They're asking them, what are you companies doing to get your company ready to handle all these competitors that are coming and doing free same-day delivery with new modern business models and much better customer experiences? And their only answer right now is, well, we bought a company called Village MD that adds physician services inside stores, which is not a move away from having people come into a store. It's actually doubling down on having patients into a store. And then they say, well, we're using robotic dispensing at these central fill locations. It's a terrible model and it's going to fail, and it's just going to make matters worse for patients, which is good for NowRx and sad, really, for a lot of patients that are still using Walgreens and CVS. Question number 3. CVS is offering home delivery. Won't that hurt NowRx's chances? Well, you got to be careful when you hear about delivery. Delivery means a lot of different things. So I'll go through the list of what delivery could mean, and then we'll talk about what CVS actually offers. So delivery could mean putting a package in mail and sending it to you through the mail, right? That's delivery, right? And so delivery through the mail has been around in the pharmacy industry for about 25 years. Companies like Express Scripts, Caremark, which is part of CVS, OptumRx, they all do delivery through the mail, and it gets delivered to your house in about 5 to 7 days. Amazon does delivery also. It takes 2 days at best case for Amazon Pharmacy. In fact, when I used Amazon Pharmacy, it took 10 days to get a delivery. So that's one kind of delivery, mail delivery. And if you look closely at CVS and their messaging, again, these companies are trying to message so their stock doesn't get crushed any more than it already has. But their message is CVS will do free delivery, but it's mail delivery. So you can get free delivery from CVS if you're willing to wait 5 to 7 days. They do have that. They've always had that. And it's a terrible experience for customers. So now let's shift to not mail delivery, but courier delivery or same day delivery, right? Some people think CVS offers same day delivery. They do, but it's not free. So they offer same day delivery. Actually, it's not even same day. It's next day delivery for $7.99 per delivery. So that is delivery. It's next day delivery. So it's not same day, and it's $8 for delivery. It's not free at all. So no, CVS's meager attempts at delivery do not impact NowRx. We have a completely different model where we've done away with the retail space. We operate out of commercial micro fulfillment centers. We use a lot of robotics and our own software to reduce the cost of processing prescriptions down from $20, which is the industry average, the cost to fill medication, down to $7 at NowRx. And that allows us to provide not only free same-day delivery, but a lot of better additional features. We do much better coordination with physician, with the insurance company, with the pharmacist. Pharmacy is a lot different than other consumer products. There's 4 parties involved in every prescription: a physician, an insurance company, a patient, and a pharmacist. And where the industry really drops the ball and really causes a lot of service issues for patients is they don't do a good job with all of that collaboration and communication. And if you have a doctor that sends in a prescription that needs clarification, or they're late on doing a refill authorization, you're not going to get that medication today, even if your pharmacy adds a delivery component. If your medication doesn't get covered by your insurance, or costs way more because some coupon didn't work or not enough information was sent to the insurance company, you're not going to get that medication today, even if you have delivery. So you can't fix pharmacy just by adding delivery. CVS and Walgreens can try to add delivery. They're charging for delivery, or they're doing mail delivery. They're not doing anything to fix the collaboration and communication behind the scenes. To do that, you need better technology. Walgreens uses a what's called an AS400 system. It's an old green screen mainframe technology. This is like 30-year-old technology, and CVS is not much better. So we've built a pharmacy management system called QuickFill, and it provides much better coordination and collaboration, far fewer mishaps and reasons for service failures and delays. And we have a far more efficient processing, and we don't rely on retail space. So we have a much lower fixed overhead. And so it's just a much better pharmacy experience. And in addition, we do free same-day delivery on top of that, and we can do it efficiently and profitably. So they're at risk, and you know, they're gonna have a very difficult time trying to change their model into something like what NowRx has. Here's another question, number 4. How do you differentiate from online competitors like Mark Cuban's Cost Plus Drugs? So Mark Cuban has a mail delivery pharmacy. It's online, it does mail delivery. Again, mail delivery has been around for 25 years in pharmacy, nothing new. He focuses on a set of medications where he offers them to the customer for supposedly cost plus 15%. It's a great model. I admire, you know, the effort. It's a good model for patients that are taking those medications and that don't need insurance to rely on to pay for that medication. So you got to listen to that very carefully. I'm going to repeat it. Mark Cuban sells medications to patients through the mail, but only to patients willing to pay cash for their medication. So this is another area where prescriptions are vastly different than other e-commerce products. For prescription medications, 95% of all transactions go through insurance to pay for the medication. When you walk into a pharmacy and you hand in your insurance card, you're not actually paying the full cost of that medication. Your insurance company is. You pay what's left over, called the copay, right? You pay $15, $20. Medication could have been $80, $800. You don't know. You pay the $15, right? And the insurance company then pays the pharmacy for those costs of the medication. So what Mark Cuban does is only deal with medications that can be paid for by cash. That's a very limited subset. I'll just give you some statistics. The $500 billion pharmacy industry, annually, it's $500 billion in revenue. 5% of it, between 5 and 10%, is cash pay. The other 90 to 95% of $500 billion industry, 90 to 95% of that goes through insurance. People use it, have to rely on insurance to pay for it. So Mark Cuban is going after 5 to 10% of the market. That's it. He cannot accept your insurance card. Go look at the FAQs. You have an $800 medication that your doctor prescribed and you need your insurance card, you cannot go to Mark Cuban. And that's 95% of the industry. So great what he's doing. He's going after a 5 to 10% portion of the market. Now, 10% of a $500 billion market is still a $50 billion market. That's pretty good. So he's got a nice business, good idea, good for patients, but it's missing 95 or 90% of the rest of the market. That's what NowRx does. So NowRx, We can take your insurance card and we can sell you medications if you want to pay cash. We do what Mark Cuban does, plus we take all the other 90 to 95% of the industry, right? So we are a full replacement. NowRx is a full replacement for CVS and Walgreens. We take your insurance card, we have all the medications you need. We don't limit it to a certain limit of medications like Cuban's does. That's the difference. So you got to, make sure just because something is selling prescription medications, you got to understand what type of market are they going after, what segment, right? NowRx is going after the $500 billion market, much different opportunity. Okay, another question here. Number 5, where do you see the greatest opportunity for NowRx growth? Individual providers versus hospitals versus hospital systems? Interesting question. I would say that you're going to hate this answer, but it's a little bit of both. When we grow new territories, we work very closely with physicians and explain the NowRx benefit, not only to their patients, but also to physicians. So we have a huge value add to physicians and their practices. We also have a value add to insurance companies and healthcare systems. So over time, there are opportunities to grow all of those channels. Initially, most of our business and most of our new customers come from what we call our physician referral channel, which is not a health system or hospital, but a physician practice. That's where most of our business comes from initially. And we will certainly, and we already have relationships with hospitals. It's not a huge part of our business, but we have a relationship with hospitals already where we get referrals and we help patients that are going in for surgery, either orthopedic surgery or eye surgery, and that'll continue to grow over time as well. Question number 6. How does NowRx compare to Amazon? I touched on this already a little bit, right? Amazon does what we call mail delivery pharmacy. You can't go today and get a prescription from Amazon. They're going to put it in a UPS, and UPS is going to drive, or one of their own trucks is going to drive to your house in 2 days at the earliest. When I tried my prescription, my own personal prescription with Amazon, I did the checkout. I got out of the checkout and it said, come back in 4 days and your prescription is not ready yet. And then in 4 days, I got an email and said, sorry, come back in a week and then your prescription will be ready. And then a week went by. So it was 10 days from the time I finished the checkout. Remember, 2-day delivery, they promise. I didn't get that medication for 10 days. This is a very basic medication available at any other pharmacy. So that's one way we're different. So if you get a prescription from your doctor with NowRx, we bring that prescription to you within 2 to 3 hours, same day. You don't have to go to, wait around for the mail to come. We use our own couriers, our own delivery personnel. We use our own micro fulfillment centers. We're a full stack pharmacy solution. And we built our own pharmacy management software that really does all of the kind of magic behind the scenes, where we coordinate with your physician electronically. We clarify that prescription. We follow up on refill authorizations. We coordinate and submit claim adjudications with insurance companies. We resolve any errors there. All of that's done in our software. We manage our own inventory at all of our micro fulfillment locations. We manage our own delivery logistics. It's all managed by our software. We have our own fleet of delivery personnel. It's a completely new model of doing pharmacy based on the concept of micro fulfillment and really cutting edge pharmacy technology. Amazon's using a traditional off-the-shelf pharmacy management system and doing mail delivery. By the way, that's been around in pharmacy for 25 years. So what Amazon's competing with is companies like Express Scripts that have a business sending prescription medications through the mail. Caremark is another company that sends prescriptions through the mail. What NowRx is competing with are retail pharmacy chains like CVS and Walgreens, right? That's really where the action is. Patients are used to getting medications the same day. They leave your doctor's office, you go stand in line at CVS and you get your medication. And usually takes an hour and a lot of pain, and Usually there's problems with your insurance and your doctor didn't do something, and inventory problems at CVS and Walgreens. We've taken all of that and made a much better pharmacy experience. So when you get a prescription and it goes to NowRx, you get that prescription without any mishaps, without any delay, without any delivery costs. We follow up with your doctor. We coordinate with your insurance company. We coordinate delivery with your schedule. It's just a completely different experience, quite different than Amazon. Do me a favor, if you want to look more at Amazon Pharmacy, go to the website called trustpilot.com, trustpilot.com, and then / Amazon Pharmacy or PillPack. I forget which one it's under. They bought a company called PillPack. They have currently 81% of their customer reviews are 1 star. That's a bad customer review experience. So that's one way. Another way we're different from Amazon. Go to Yelp and look at NowRx's reviews, 5-star reviews across the board, all of our micro-fulfillment centers. That's not easy to do in pharmacy. You have to fix what goes on inside the pharmacy. The technology that runs the pharmacy industry is antiquated. It's 30 years old. We built it all new from scratch using modern technology, and it makes the customer experience like nothing anyone's ever seen in the industry. And that's the difference. And that's how we're going to continue to compete, right? It's a defensible, differentiated experience, customer experience. And that's really what we've been all about since we launched the company. All right, here's another question about Walgreens robot. Walgreens can fill 300 prescriptions in an hour. They're testing at 22 locations. How does that compare to NowRx? How do you plan to compete against Walgreens? I talked about this earlier. Maybe you joined late. This question was kind of asked and answered, but I'll run through it again quickly. If you want to go check the recording, once this is available, we'll put the recording out there. I talked about this in detail. Walgreens has a very bad approach to using robotics, in my view. So what they're doing is they're using something called central fill, which is something that's been in pharmacy for a decade or more, where the prescription from a doctor shows up to a local Walgreens location, and then that prescription is sent to an off-site location called a central fill facility, which is a long ways away, hours away from their retail location, where they use robotics to fill that prescription. And then guess what has to happen? Here's the key. That prescription that's been filled hours away has to now be shipped back to that local location. So if you, in pharmacy, the way you're going to win pharmacy is to reduce the SLA, the service level agreement, with a patient. You have to give them that medication, give them an opportunity to get that medication within 2 to 3 hours of getting that prescription from their doctor, and even 1 hour if it's something truly urgent like an antibiotic or a pain medication. If you're Walgreens and you're shipping prescriptions off to a remote location for filling and then shipping it back, what do you think that's going to do to the SLA? It's going to be really bad. It's going to be really bad for their customer experience. And what NowRx has done is we've taken robotic dispensing capabilities and pushed it out to the periphery and our micro fulfillment locations that are near the customer, inside communities at the periphery, so we can maintain a better SLA than anyone else in the industry. With NowRx, you get that prescription within 2 to 3 hours, same day, free of charge, and even 1 hour if it's something truly urgent. And Walgreens just won't be able to compete with that, not with this central fill technology that they're trying to attempt. It's good to see, Walgreens is using some robotics, nice to have, but they're not really gonna make that into a good customer experience. Question number 8. With drug prices being highest in the world, I guess you're talking about the US, at some point there may be regulation. How would compression of margins for PBMs, drug manufacturers impact NowRx if there is price regulation of some sort? Sure. I mean, we've talked about this in our SEC filings. We talked about the risk factors for potential regulatory changes in the pharmacy industry. there's a lot of things that could happen. I don't like to speculate too much. Look, people are always going to need medications. There's always going to be a pharmacy industry. It's regulated at the state level. It's very recession proof. Uh, if there are price modifications, there's going to be costs modifications as well. And so, a lot of people see high drug prices, but if you look at the cost of those medications, I mean, there's been a few exceptions, guys like Pharma Bro, Skrelly. By the way, that's I recommend that video. There's a good movie documentary on Skrelly, Pharma Bro. I watched it on an airplane the other day. It's a good watch. It's pretty funny in a sick kind of way, but he's an interesting character. But look, drug companies invest billions of dollars in making drugs, and they need to recoup that expense. And so they have to pick a price for their medication that they think is going to generate enough profit over time to make that R&D investment worthwhile. If we take that profit away from R&D, from return on R&D, then they're going to stop doing the R&D. So, I mean, that's one argument for, thinking a little more carefully and nuanced about what do we really want to happen as a society. Do we want drug companies to continue to invent medications that make us all healthy and feel better? If you do, then you got to think carefully about how hard we impact the profit margins there for the drug companies. Pharmacy margins have been very steady over decades, so I don't really see that changing anytime soon. The drug companies, sure, there are some drugs where the blockbuster drugs, they make a ton of money. The PBMs are certainly skimming off some of the money internally. Insurance companies are involved. There's a lot of different parties involved, and of course, things could always be more efficient, but I don't believe, the pharmacy industry is ever going to go away. There's always going to be profit there and business for pharmacies because people need their medications, and it's a part of our society. So I don't think that's really a big risk factor for us, but thanks for the question. How we doing on time? Coming up on the half hour, I'll go a few minutes more. We got a lot of good questions and activity, which is great. We're going to do this again tomorrow, and we'll get to some other questions that we didn't get to today. So thanks for joining, but I'll stay a few more minutes here past the half hour. Question number 9. I may be incorrect about this, but I believe I read in an article that GoPuff operates large fulfillment centers as intermediates to micro fulfillment centers. Interesting. Regardless of whether this is true, would this make sense for pharmacy? I'm going to check into that. That sounds very interesting. I admire GoPuff a lot. They have really been a big player in the micro fulfillment space, and I'm a big believer in that in pharmacy, just in all of retail. If you look at the old world of e-commerce where everything was online, and the even older world of retail where everything was offline, you think about micro fulfillment, it's really the blending of those two. It takes the best of both worlds where you do fulfillment, you have a lot of the interactions are online, but the fulfillment's done close to customers, not 3 or 4 states away, right? Which is the old e-commerce model. You've got to do that fulfillment close to customers so you can get a really high SLA. And that's why I love micro fulfillment. I think it's great for pharmacy. I think it's great for a lot of different businesses. GoPuff has certainly used it to really good effect. I'll check out if they're kind of doing intermediary. Certainly logistically, as we scale the business, we're going to do some of our own warehousing at centralized locations and then have a distribution. Right now, we rely on the distribution and supply chain that's already in existence in pharmacy. But as we grow and scale and continue to vertically integrate, we'll start taking on more of that. And I'm sure it would make sense logistically at some point to have some centralized distribution facilities to do some of the warehousing and then spread it out to local centers. It's a little bit trickier in pharmacy because the industry is set up to really have each micro fulfillment location be the destination of those medications, and you can't really move those medications around from location to location. The industry has some controls in place and some regulations around when medications can be shipped in and out of a location. You're kind of married to keeping that inventory at that location where it was delivered to by the wholesalers, and that's for safety for patients and Micro fulfillment makes a whole heck of a lot of sense for pharmacy because of that. And anybody that's going to try to do same day delivery has to move to a micro fulfillment strategy. So definitely makes sense for pharmacy and I think other retail as well. Let's take a couple more questions here. This is great, good stuff. Hope your guys are getting some value out of this. I certainly think it's been good dialogue. Question number 10. Since you're currently dependent on one distributor, McKesson, to help you stock drugs, is there a backup if this relationship sours? Yeah, we actually have a backup already. We use a wholesaler called IPC as a backup wholesaler, and they have capacity to handle if there's any trouble with McKesson. There's also McKesson's closest competitor, AmerisourceBergen and Cardinal as well, that are very anxious to get NowRx's wholesale business. So not too worried about disruption with McKesson. We also have, direct to manufacturer relationships, and we're planning to do more of that as we scale up to be less reliant on the wholesale market, cut out some of the wholesalers, frankly, at scale, so we keep more of the margin ourselves. That kind of goes back into the previous question around, do we build out, how do we go about building our own wholesaling and distribution capabilities? And at scale, we certainly will. Financially, it's going to make a lot of sense. All right, that's where we're going to stop the questions. I did want you to know that we're going to record, this has been recorded. We're going to post that out on our YouTube channel. Please go out to YouTube, NowRx. There's a lot of other good information out there. A lot of other webinars have been recorded and put out there. We'll continue to put more links to this, and we are going to do this again tomorrow, same time, same place. So bring your questions. Love it. Love having the dialogue. And for now, take care. Have a great day. Bye.